Welcome to Mindful Monday. Welcome to this introductory session on Mindfulness of Feelings, which is the second part of the Mindfulness of Sutra, Satipatthana. So mindfulness of feelings, we're going to look at in a Buddhist context of what the definition of feelings actually is, and then go through that. We're going to understand what feelings actually are in the body and mind. And what we're going to do as we go through this is we're going to look at breaking the link between craving and feeling and understanding impermanence. We're going to explore non-self and feelings. We're going to look at understanding suffering and exploring anger. And we're also going to look at the energy connection. We're going to explore restlessness. We're going to explore happiness. So there's different feelings. So let's look at the definition, Vedanta, which is the Pali translation. It's one of the 5 skandhas, so it's one of the 5 aggregates, which is the Buddha's teachings on what makes us up as human beings. So part of that is feelings. If we don't feel, we're not alive. So it is definitely something that we all experience. It's also one of the 4 mindfulness objects, which is why we're looking at it now. And it's one of the 7 universal factors and one of the 10 present mental factors, and it's the 7th link in the 12-link dependent origination cycle. So the reason I'm mentioning those is that it all links into the other teachings of the Buddha, so you can get a present of where it sits. So the dependent of origination, the cycle, we're just going to look over this very, very briefly, but just to see where those 12 links are and look at where Vedanta arises. So it arises after contact. Okay, so contact comes from the 6 sense doors, and then as soon as you come into contact with something, the feeling comes in straight after, and it's dependent on contact. If you don't have the contact, you don't get the feeling. As simple as that. And then that feeling can lead to craving, and the craving is dependent on the feeling. Now, we're going to look in the next session is that it's possible to break that link between feeling and craving. But in terms of the contact and the feeling, it's going to happen. There's no way around that. But there is a way to break the link between feeling and craving, which will stop us doing an unskillful act. So if we take it to mean with food, let's give food as an example. So you could have contact with seeing something that might not be healthy to eat. Let's say you see the McDonald's sign, the golden arches, you see that, and then the feeling is a like or a dislike, dependent on how you view it. But let's say it's a like, and then you may actually pull in and go into the restaurant and make an order, and that's fulfilling the craving. So there is a link that you can break between seeing it, feeling it, that you want it, and then saying, actually, no, it's not going to be a wise decision to take that choice now. So the key point here and the key takeaway from this in presentation is really to get present to that it's not about emotion. Sometimes we When we think of feelings, we think emotions. We think anger, we think joy, sadness, guilt, love. It's not the emotion. So when we get to the bare affective quality of an experience, we break it down into 3 areas. It's either pleasant, painful, or neutral. So we either like it, or we dislike it, or we feel indifferent, neither like or dislike. So that's kind of what feelings are. The emotions are an outcome of the feelings. So yes, we might like it, and then we get to this feeling of love or joy. There's bodily sensations, but it's important to understand how feelings arise and then they dissipate. So feelings come and go. They're not permanent. They're constantly changing. And the other thing is when you sort of get to that feeling, which might lead to an emotion, that emotion, let's say love, when you're in that emotion of love, you're not in the emotion of hate. So there's a distinction there. But feelings don't define who you are. We may think they do, with what we like and we dislike. It's all dependent in that chain. So they are part of our life. You know, we all have a life, we all have a body, and we all have a mind, consciousness. We feel things. Feelings are good. If we don't feel anything, it can be a problem. Without feelings, we are unable to move forward. So feelings are a natural thing. So it's not about pushing away feelings. It's about recognizing them and just getting to that wise discernment of what's actually an investigation of what's going on with them. So part of that discernment is actually labeling whether that feeling is pleasant, unpleasant, or neither pleasant or unpleasant, neutral. So that's a basic level, is actually just identifying what it is, what's going on. These are all rooted in sense impressions. So they're coming from the contact, remember, in that cycle of dependent origination. So if you see somebody and you immediately have a feeling about that person, whether you like them or dislike them, that's coming from the seeing consciousness. So quick overview of the 6 senses, as we know. So we've got touch, sight, smell, mind. So we think something, hearing and taste. And the next area to investigate is how these types can be felt. So what does it feel like to like something and actually want more of it? You know, what is that feeling? And then looking at what it's like to dislike something and push it away. What does that feel like? And then what does it feel like in terms of not wanting it or not not wanting it, you know, and it's not noticeable. This is quite, you know, a kind of difficult one to grasp, actually, because if you don't notice it, what will you know what it's like, what it feels like? I'll give you an example, is the feeling of sitting on a chair. So until I mention sitting on a chair, it's not noticeable. So it's a neutral. There's a no like or dislike. So it goes down further into 6 classes of Vedanta, corresponding to sensations arising from contact between an internal sense organ, an external sense object, and the associated consciousness. So let's look at what the nature of feelings are. So when we do insight meditation, we start to see this. We start to see the impermanence of feelings coming and going. And we also start to get present that you're not your feelings, you're not in control of those things. So in this cycle of dependent origination, as soon as you have that contact, you can't stop the feeling coming, but you can stop the craving leading to an action. So you start to also get present to the discontent of some feelings. So to really get present to the nature of feelings, we're going to do a short meditation on this. So just take a moment and get comfortable. So sitting upright. Take a nice deep inhale and exhale. On the next inhale, just scan the body from head to toe. And then check in with the mind. Note what's there and put any worries or concerns aside. While we set the intention, this meditation, to get present to the true nature of feelings. So getting present to the breath. So feelings in a Buddhist context are not emotions. They can be broken down into 3 areas. So the like, the dislike, and the neutral. So bringing a like to mind, to bring a person that you really like to mind, and just visualize that person in your mind's eye. Now get present to the feeling of liking. Now get present to the felt experience, that person. Do you feel that you want to spend more time with that person? Do you think about that person more often? Does it lead to other emotions? Are you attracted to that person? Do you have desire for that person? Just be with the experience right here, right now. Now bringing a person to mind that perhaps you don't get on with so well. There might be some dislike to that person. Just get present to the feeling of the dislike. Is it leading to any emotions? Do you have any anxiety when you plan to meet that person? Do you have any fear? Do you avoid seeing that person? Just be with the experience right here, right now. Now bringing to mind someone who's neutral. So perhaps a neighbour, or perhaps someone you see regularly in the street, but you don't know their name. Just bring that person to mind. Get present to the feelings of neutrality. Not liking, not disliking. Getting present to any feelings leading to the emotions. Is there a sense of numbness, non-connectivity? Just get present to the experience right here, right now. Coming back to the breath, breathing in, breathing out. And then slowly opening the eyes, coming back into the room. So how did you find that meditation? Did you get present to those three feelings, pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral? And what conditioned feelings arose? And what emotions did it lead to? And then what bodily feelings did you have associated with that feeling? So if you have any questions on feelings or what we're going to cover in this course, please get in touch and we can go through that or attend a live class. So this is a really good one to remember. People can't understand others' feelings. They always forget that everyone has a different perspective. So here's the invitation to do the work between each session. So start to observe your feelings and classifying them in those three groups. So rather than just jumping directly to the emotion, think, is it a like or is it a dislike or is it a neutral feeling? And just jot them down. There's plenty of apps that can help with that. There's one called Moody. There's Thought Diary that you can actually go through, and it asks you a series of questions associated to that. Research into what impermanence is. And attend a love and kindness meditation. They happen every weekday at 8 o'clock live. Or a laughter yoga every Friday at 5 o'clock to get present to a pleasant feeling. And then continue to research into the mindfulness of feelings. And this is some of the list of resources that you can access to get present to feelings. There's Dharma talks on feelings, becoming aware of feelings. And then we're going to discover breaking the link from feeling to craving to action.